It's Mental Health Month, but how often do we actually teach mental health in our classrooms? From math and science to gym and ELA, this episode is packed with practical, classroom-ready ideas to include emotional well-being into everyday learning. We'll also dive into student-led digital storytelling, easy video editing tools, and free media kits that help elevate student voice. Whether you're a first-year teacher or a seasoned vet, there's something in this episode to help you bring more care, creativity, and connection to your students. When we talk about mental health, we're talking about a lot of different things that affect young people, from mental health conditions and formal supports to coping skills, self-regulation, healthy relationships, and how we communicate with each other. Now, ideally, positive and human-centered classrooms help support mental well-being every day, but that doesn't happen by accident. It takes intentional teaching, and since most schools don't offer mental health as a class, it's up to all of us as educators to weave it into everyday learning. Here are some of my ideas for talking to students about mental health this month. In math class, start conversations about mental illness by looking at data or statistics. Your students can examine and map rates of mental illness in different areas. They can compare data around treatment effectiveness, or they can collect various data points from mental health organizations in the community. In STEM or engineering settings, students can work to design digital or mechanical supports that promote positive mental health and collective care. In ELA, students could compare vocabulary words that are used to refer to different conditions, treatments, and identities. And in health class or PE, you can help students practice various self-care routines and physical movement that can promote mental well-being. For even more lessons and learning resources, I want to encourage you to check out Wellbeings from PBS. Wellbeings is an initiative that started in 2023 with the launch of Ken Burns' Hiding in Plain Sight and has grown to a powerful collection of resources, videos, teaching materials, and other content, all with the common goal of promoting positive mental health for all of us and especially for our young people. I highly recommend the Educator Toolkit that includes lessons and teaching materials, downloads for posters and other visual aids, and community connections that can support these conversations in your classroom. If you're looking for local content that will get your middle and high school students talking, check out Let's Talk Mental Health from the latest season of Extra Credit. The youth hosts Brooke and Paige discuss common misconceptions about mental health and the importance of open dialogue and meaningful self-care. The episode also features a story about Caleb's Kids, a Detroit-based nonprofit that empowers youth, families, and professionals with mental health education, wellness strategies, and resources. For younger learners, it can be important to explicitly teach language and tools that can be used to promote positive mental health. In an earlier planning period for Autism Acceptance Month, we watched some of Carl the Collector, the new show from PBS Kids, and we focused on an episode where Carl actually has a fight with one of his friends. This episode is great for teaching about neurodiversity, but also about mental health in terms of identifying and communicating about emotions and sharing feelings with friends and working through conflict. I would encourage anyone to go back and watch more Carl the Collector in the classroom, especially for Mental Health Month. Finally, if you're looking for some strategies and routines for your younger students, there are some segments in the newest episodes of Read, Write, Roar that can really help students internalize key vocabulary and practices that support 21st century skill development, and we've got some great mindfulness and movement opportunities for them as well. Check out the segments from Miss Yarnell, Miss Audra, and Miss AP all on our site. Use these daily in your classroom to inspire mindset shifts and solidify routine building, and then share them with families so that your students' learning and routines continue at home all throughout the summer. We have 2 weeks left of our end of the year digital storytelling project. This week, we're gonna focus on collecting video and audio content, revising scripts, and editing the final video. So the first step for your students is going to be revisiting their scripts and outlines and making any necessary revisions based on the content they have. Hopefully they were doing this along the way as interviews went differently than they planned, or maybe as they found some really great archived content that they didn't think they would have access to ahead of time, but there are probably some additional tweaks that they're still gonna want to make. They might wanna rearrange or adjust some of the details in the plan, and they may even have a totally different idea for some parts of how they want the story to come together based on the content that they got. Once students have their outlines refined and they once again have a clear plan for the final video, they should start reviewing all of the content and identifying the clips that they know they want to include. This is another great place for a simple graphic organizer that asks them to organize the audio and video clips according to the segment they might be included in, or according to the talent or interview in the clip, according to the content or subject of the B-roll, or some other relevant details for their project. One of the things we have for you in the episode resources this week is this timeline that gives students a clear visual for how they can piece together a video that includes multiple shorter segments, different speakers, and B-roll with voiceover. This was designed for documentary story production as part of our Iconic Michigan project, but I think it's a really great visual for a lot of different styles of content because it helps students see the length of clips they're looking for and the cyclical nature of using an interview, and then adding in some B-roll, and then another interview with someone else and some more B-roll and voiceover and so on, so that they can build a cohesive and engaging narrative. Once students have their content organized and their scripts refined, then they can start actually cutting and editing the footage to pull it together into a timeline that will eventually become their final video. This is usually the stage when educators we work with get a little nervous because editing does require some level of technical capacity and an aptitude for getting creative while using editing technologies. But whenever I talk to educators who are new to this work, I give them two main pieces of advice. First, it's likely that a number of your students are already editing content. They know what apps they like, and they're super willing to learn and play with editing video with different apps and technologies. And the end of the year is such a great time to just let them play and learn. My second piece of advice is that there are also super easy to use editing apps and programs that are made for classroom use, so you don't have to learn how to use Adobe Premiere overnight. Try leveraging your existing Canva for Education account and have students edit their videos just like they're editing documents, infographics, flyers, slides, or any of the other content you've used Canva for this year. Adobe Express is my personal favorite tool. Their educator platform has templates, tutorials, educational guides, and a super easy to use video editing tool. Like many other creative projects, learning how to edit is a hands-on, trial and error type of experience, so don't get hung up on what you do or don't know, and just give your students space to jump in and play this spring. Last week, we had the opportunity to join the Wayne Risa Maker STEM Summit in Dearborn, and we brought some of our media equipment to show educators how we support hands-on digital storytelling and project-based learning. A big part of what I love being able to offer to teachers around Michigan is free gear that can empower young people to take their voices and their creative ideas seriously when they produce content. So we actually made a video at the event that's sort of a tour of what we have and how we can set up in your classroom, but also for a school or district PD event, for a makerspace type community event. We do a lot of these what we call media making playgrounds, where we set up a bunch of the gear and we let teachers or students or families check it out, and then the teachers can get familiar before designing projects to bring into their classroom. So we're gonna roll a clip from that video, and you can check out the whole thing back on our channel, and you can visit our media hub on the website for more information about the kits and resources we have. But definitely keep us in mind as you're planning for next year, whether you're a teacher planning for a project or a unit, or you're a building leader or coach planning for PD and coaching, because we'd love to be included in what you're doing next year.
Welcome everybody to the Wayne Risa Maker STEM Summit this year. This event was rescheduled from February, and we're super excited to be here in May. Even though it's a little bit rainy outside, we're having a great time inside. The Michigan Learning Channel was invited to be a part of the Makerspace exploration area where we are today. There's all kinds of hands-on materials and toys and equipment and exploratory content that teachers can engage with to bring into their classrooms. We're here with our media kits and all of our equipment that we actually rent out to teachers across the state totally for free, and a bunch of resources to help kickstart thinking about how you can bring media making and digital storytelling into your classroom. So I thought this would be a really fun opportunity for me to step out from behind the planning period desk and do like a live episode today and show you some of our equipment and talk about some of the ideas we're getting really excited about that I think Michigan teachers would love to help engage students with this kind of content. So let's take a look at what we've got set up today. This is all of our Michigan Learning Channel content. I'm gonna start with Over here, we have our podcast kits set up. These come with a really awesome Zoom 4-track recorder that you're just gonna plug in. It's actually gonna work off the batteries, and then the microphones plug directly into this, and when it's on, we can check levels, we can monitor, students can practice all kinds of sound engineering. It comes with the headphones, and you can record a 1-person or 2-person podcast with this kit. This all comes together, and so I'm thinking about in the ELA context, obviously there's all kinds of opportunities for students to practice speaking and listening, communication strategies, they can interview each other, but also even if students wanted to record one just themselves, offering a story, telling a story in a podcast form or some sort of educational explainer content, there's a lot of applications for this kind of work. And what we've seen in classrooms is when you invite students to not just create the content with the devices they have access to, but give them this professional level equipment, the engagement goes through the roof. It's really, really exciting. The other thing we have that's gonna take something students already have and already use and kick it up to the next level are our media kits. So these come with this stabilizers that actually work with your phone. I'll do a little demo with my phone here. When I turn this on, my phone's gonna flip around, and that is gonna allow me either in vertical format or in horizontal format to take a video, and I was doing this earlier actually. It's stabilizing my phone, so no matter where my arm goes, my phone is staying stable, and I can take a video now of this whole room, and it's gonna stay level. So I love this equipment for like a virtual field trip. Your students could offer a virtual tour of the classroom, of the school building, of a museum exhibit, of their homes or a park in their community or somewhere. Great opportunity for springtime and summertime. They can get outside and create virtual tours and virtual opportunities for other people to experience what they might experience every day. What's your path to school? What is some of these landmarks and sites look like? What is the museum or memorial or statue or sculpture in the middle of your community look like? And how can you narrate around it? Tell some historical facts, offer some perspective, hold this up and interview people about what you're seeing. So lots of opportunities for engagement there. The other thing that the mobile kit comes with, again, they're meant to work with a phone, a cell phone. They come with these super lightweight tripods. So again, that's an opportunity to set something up and leave it. And these little mini lights. This one's off right now, but this is gonna provide just a little bit of extra lighting for an interview or for something that you're producing, sort of in the field, all right? And our last one that I wanna show you is this entire setup here. This is our full iPad kit. So this is a way to get sort of like a mini professional level studio in your classroom, in your school, either something that your entire class can participate in. If you check one out and you're all gonna use it together, you're gonna form a production team, or you can check out multiple, form small groups, or let your students work independently using one of the devices. So these come with a teleprompter setup. If you want to have students actually write content and be able to read that content without having to look down, without having to maybe memorize what they're saying. This works with, again, either an iPad or a phone that's going to come through here, and you can actually read right off the screen without looking away. You're also going to get access to the iPad with a really strong, durable tripod setup and some really great lights to help students think about, how light impacts the scene and how different lighting can really up the ante for different shots. What we're actually demoing here today is the green screen feature. We've got a couple different free green screen apps. So you can see this has actually swapped out that green background for me. Now I'm swimming around with the fishes in the sea. So this would be a great opportunity to apply if students are thinking about assessing and demonstrating historical knowledge. You could use a historical background and they could kind of narrate and offer facts about the setting that they're standing in. They could talk about the elements in this. This is obviously sort of a fictional wildlife scene, but if I put a real photo back there, I could identify habitats behind me and point to them. If I put a map behind me, I could identify different areas of the world or different states and name them. Obviously, we could do a weather report and practice talking about the weather and using disciplinary vocabulary. There's all kinds of opportunities to get students of all ages engaged with a setup like this. And you can get all of this equipment from the Michigan Learning Channel for free. Send us a note. All the contact information is going to be in the description for this segment. And I would love to talk to you more about some of the project ideas you have and how we can bring some of this equipment and resources to your classroom and your site to help you get students engaged with media making and digital storytelling. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for spending part of your Mental Health Month with us. Remember, supporting student well-being doesn't have to mean overhauling your curriculum. It's about making space, offering tools, and showing up with intention. Whether it's including mental health in core subjects or just exploring and sharing some new resources, small shifts can have a big impact. Don't forget to check out the links in the description for all the resources we mentioned, from PBS Wellbeings to Extra Credit, Carl the Collector, Read, Write, Roar, and of course our media kits. If anything in this episode helped you spark some new ideas, give us a like and subscribe, and share this episode with a colleague. We've got more classroom-ready content coming your way every week. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you next time.
This program is made possible in part by the state of Michigan and by viewers like you. Thank you.